It's a massive national crisis. When it comes to international geopolitics, it's not a simple game. One move can literally change everything. Today, we're going to break down how a single diplomatic decision in the Middle East, according to our source material, might just be pushing Bangladesh towards a massive national crisis. Let's get right into it. So, that brings us to the big question, right? How did a seemingly straightforward foreign policy choice spiral into such a high-stakes standoff? Well, what our source calls diplomatic immaturity is now having some very, very real consequences. The whole thing kicks off with this one ship, the Banglar Joyjatra. It's an oil tanker property of the Bangladesh Shipping Corporation, and right now, it's completely stuck. It's been denied passage through the Strait of Hormuz, which, this is one of the most critical oil choke points in the entire world. But to really get why this is happening, we've got to rewind a little bit. And this is where the story takes a really sharp and, honestly, unexpected turn. Because just before all this went down, the relationship between these two countries seemed to be on a totally different path, one of real friendship and goodwill. So, get this. According to our source, at a time when things are incredibly tense globally, Iran did something pretty amazing. It gave special transit clearance through the Strait of Hormuz to just a handful of nations. We're talking only 5 or 6 in the whole world. And yep, Bangladesh was one of them. What's really interesting here is that this wasn't some quiet, backroom deal. Iran went public with it. They officially declared that they saw Bangladesh as an extremely close and brotherly nation. In the delicate dance of international diplomacy, that's about as warm a hug as you can get. And then, just like that, everything flipped. Only 2 days after that very public declaration of friendship, Bangladesh's foreign ministry took a stand at an international forum. They didn't stay quiet, they didn't stay neutral, no. They went ahead and issued a strong condemnation of Iran, calling it an aggressor nation. So what on earth was going on? Why the sudden 180? Well, the source material points to a few possible reasons. It suggests the whole thing was driven by a desire to get on the good side of the Trump administration, maybe even using India as a go-between to lobby them. The analysis also hints that some government advisors might be stuck in the past, operating on this old belief that you have to please Washington no matter what, a strategy that maybe doesn't fit so well in the more complicated, multipolar world we live in today. Okay, so now let's connect the dots back to that ship we talked about earlier, the Banglar Joyjatra, because this is where that diplomatic decision starts to have very real, very tangible consequences. You have to feel for the ship's crew. They had already been through a lot. Before even trying to make it through the strait, they were stuck in the area for about 40 days because of all the regional conflict. So when a ceasefire was finally announced, they were ready to head home. The tanker took off from a port in Saudi Arabia. After a grueling 40-hour journey across the open sea, it finally got close to the Strait of Hormuz. But then, boom. Just as it arrived, the message comes through. Iranian authorities had flatly denied their request for transit clearance. That gesture of goodwill, it was officially over. But it didn't just stop at, no, you can't come through. Oh no, it got way, way more serious. The source reports that the language became dangerously confrontational, and a threat was made that has some really serious international implications. This is the ultimatum, the line in the sand, reportedly coming straight from a high-ranking official at the Hormuz Authority. It's a direct threat. Either you change your diplomatic position, or we reclassify your commercial ships. They will be considered enemy vessels. So, what does that term enemy vessel actually mean? Look, it's not just tough talk. Under international maritime law, this is a huge escalation. It basically rips away a commercial ship's protected status. It makes it a legitimate target for a military attack, or for being seized and impounded. So you see how this isn't just about one ship anymore, right? This is where a single diplomatic standoff starts to ripple outwards, and it has the potential to become a cascading crisis that could hit the entire nation's economy and stability. And this really gets to the heart of the critique from our source material. It presents this whole situation as a perfect example of misreading the global chessboard. The core argument is that while the world is quickly becoming multipolar, with new powers and new alliances changing the game, Bangladesh's strategy seems stuck in the past, completely focused on pleasing a single superpower that, in this case, can't actually guarantee the country's energy supply. It's a key lesson for any smaller nation out there. In this new world, being flexible might be way more valuable than rigid allegiance. And listen, these economic problems, they're not some far-off possibility. They're already happening. This isn't just about that one ship that's stranded. The source is reporting that because of this diplomatic fallout, 5 other oil shipments to Bangladesh have already been canceled. That is a major hit to the national energy reserve, and it's tightening the supply chain right now. And this just perfectly illustrates the potential chain reaction our source is predicting. It's like a domino effect. First, you get the canceled shipments, which leads to a severe fuel and energy crisis. Okay, less fuel means power plants can't run, which leads to widespread blackouts. When the lights go out, factories can't operate and manufacturing grinds to a halt. And of course, with fewer goods being made and moved around, the prices of everyday essentials, we're talking food, medicine, could just go through the roof for ordinary people. See how each step leads directly to the next? When you boil it all down, this whole episode highlights a huge dilemma that a lot of countries are facing today. When a core national interest, like, say, keeping the lights on, clashes with the desire to align with a powerful but distant ally, what's the right call? The source makes its argument pretty clear, but the situation itself is a powerful lesson. In the complex game of global geopolitics, every single move has a consequence, and more often than not, a country's most important interests are found closest to home.